last time you were on, we brought up your Fox it wasn't a debut, but you were on and the Epstein isn't dead comment, right?
No, didn't kill himself. Yeah,
that's right. Epstein didn't kill himself. And so now, here we are, what, a year or more later?
Yeah.
Give or take. And now you've got, what's her name?
Ghislaine Maxwell.
Yeah, there you go. Maxwell. Yeah. Now she's been tried. And so what are your thoughts these days on any of that?
I'm actually kind of surprised that she was found guilty. I mean, it's without a doubt encouraging to see that. I think that whole ring of fucking people, now that she's been convicted, I think there should be like a further investigation into all of her contacts, and they should get fried, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, I know Bill Clinton's fucking one of them, Bill Gates there's a bunch of people that were in that web of fucking nasty shit that are still just walking around completely unimpeded. And I don't understand that,
Yeah.
So even if it was like a plea deal, and maybe they offered that and she turned it down, I mean, who knows? But, to me, I would use that if I was a prosecutor as leverage against her. I'd try to squeeze her and say, hey, you can go to jail for the rest of your life, or you can turn these fucking scumbags and get it reduced or even washed if you get enough of them, so we'll see if that happens. But, like I said, I'm at least encouraged to see that, she didn't kill herself in prison, or wasn't offed,
Yeah.
by a fucking auto accident or whatever, so it's good to see that. I hope more comes from it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm surprised that, someone that's been living the lifestyle that she's been living wasn't like begging to give up names, just so she could maintain her freedom and her lifestyle. It's like, it blows me away.
Yeah.
And she didn't give anything up early on and just prevent the trial to begin with.
Yeah. No, I know.
Yeah. Fucking disgusting people.
Yeah.
So the other thing we kind of got into last time was, we're talking about your car, right? We talked about that at the time. Your Pista was pretty brand new.
Yeah.
And so, where are you at with that now? You've been driving the hell out of it, so I'm assuming you love it, hate it. What?
Yeah, no, I love it. I've been very fortunate, and I probably mentioned this the last time, but between just clients that I've had or going to car meets and networking with different guys, here in the Metroplex, I've been very fortunate to be able to drive a lot of cars to see if I like them or not, and I've had a few different ones over the last few years to do the same thing with. And for me, without a doubt, this car is kind of the pinnacle of everything I like. Just like with handguns or fucking trucks or fucking hiking boots, I mean, whatever, is that, it's a lot of personal preference and whatever. That car, just for what I like, suits me better than anything else I've ridden and even or driven, and even have, I've put almost 10,000 miles on it. I've had it for about a year now, and I drive the shit out of it and I love it. I've had Audis and Porsches, and I've driven, McLarens and Lambos and fucking you name it. And I just, this car is kind of the epitome of everything that's fun in a car. It feels like a go-kart. It drives, just impeccably well grip wise, super responsive. It's fast. It's just really balanced. You get a sense of feeling like you're a better driver than you actually are because the car is that good. Whereas a lot of other cars I've driven have gotten really fucking squirrely and are kind of mentally exhausting. Whereas this one is, it's fun and it's playful, but it's balanced and it's controllable, so it's just enough to have fun and feel a little squirrely, but not so much to where you're nervous driving it, and to me, that's kind of the true mark of a really well engineered car nowadays. And that, with all the different traction control and, different driver assistance aids that are available in cars. One of the downsides is that it can make the experience pretty numb. I think the 911 is kind of a good example of that, where it's so good that it kind of sucks, which maybe sounds counterintuitive, but there's so many elements to how well engineered it is. It takes some of the fun out of driving it. Yes, it still handles incredible. It's fast. It's a very capable car, but there is some element of it's almost so good that it's kind of boring. And having one, like I find myself always preferring the pista, because it gives you just enough playfulness to where, it gets your fucking blood going and adrenaline pumping, but not so much to where you're flying off the fucking road and killing yourself. So it's such a good car.
All right. Now getting into your latest, greatest project, Unfuck America. Obviously I got to get a sneak peek, and I've definitely done what you do. I've scanned this thing. And there's so many great points. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. This really is a collection of mic drop interviews, thoughts, and processes that you've kind of gone through with guests, and then you basically put it in writing, right?
Yeah, it's if you take all of the guests that I've had that are subject matter experts on big ticket items that our country faces, my interpretation of their take or position on a lot of that stuff, coupled with what I think, in my experience, is all wrapped up into kind of a collection of thoughts that way. But I would say, to reduce it to one kind of mission statement or 30-second elevator pitch is that, the country is collectively pretty fucked and pissed off. Mm-hmm. And it's very divided that way. The biggest reason why it's divided from my perspective is social media and mainstream media pushing a narrative that they want pushed. But when you look at the data, which I think is, whether you're talking cars, fucking jujitsu, shooting, being a chef, whatever, like that's what makes things what they are. The data doesn't reflect what's being pushed as it relates to, what our country faces and what's the most dangerous. Like if you look at the top 10 problems that our country faces, none of them are regularly touted by the media or pushed in social media, whether it's TikTok videos or shorts or whatever, is that there's very little coverage on that. And so, for me, it's like, well, if the country is in kind of a shitty state of affairs, we're looking at the wrong problems. We're addressing the wrong problems. We're divided about the wrong problems. And ultimately, we're pissed about the wrong things that are actually negatively impacting this country. And so, it starts with that of saying, here's what's actually going on. Here's why it's a problem. Like, here's how we got here. Here's how we address it. And then here's ultimately how we fix it. But it's on a macro scale as a country, but it's also on a micro scale as an individual, because I think one of the big problems that people run into is they feel overwhelmed by all of the things that go on in this country. And they look at, whether it's social issues, military, foreign policy, the stock market, fucking the economy, what have you. And they think, well, what the fuck can I do about any of that? Like, my vote doesn't even count. There's nothing I can do to change the price of gas, whatever it is. And so it's giving people kind of a glimpse into their own experience as how they can actually do something. There's a precursor in it that I think is really, really important to bring up too, which is there's three things that you have to ditch going into any conversation, which is emotion, which, clouds everybody, myself included, is that if you're making decisions when you're emotional about them, they're almost always wrong. Religion, for the same reasons, is that you've got to be able to separate your religious beliefs. Doesn't mean that you have to get rid of them, but you have to be able to separate them and not let them completely influence every aspect of social policy and issues facing our country. And then last but not least, so the first one again is emotion, religion, and then politics. Yeah. Most people identify with a political party. And there's a huge problem with that, is that it's that groupthink mentality, is that if you look at most social issues that divide this country, most people feel a certain way about them based on whatever their political beliefs are, not what they actually think. And when people start talking through the nuance of different social issues, most people find that they have way more in common than they do not in common. And so one of the reasons for that is that they're emotional, they're politically motivated by something, or they're religiously infused into that. And so if you get rid of all of those three things, and also come into the conversation with the prospect that you might actually be wrong, then everybody can have open and honest conversations and actually have traction, sorting through the problems that we have. When you come in emotional with, politically and religious based views and thinking to yourself, I can't be wrong, you're never going to get anywhere in any fucking conversation. You know? And so each chapter, whether it's guns, the border, foreign policy, whatever, I go through all of it, abortion, prison, you name it. Again, the problems that our country faces more predominantly than everything else is that precursor of making sure that those boxes are checked before you start thinking about this and before we go into it, are addressed. And so I kind of precurse each chapter with that.
You're listening to Can You Survive This Podcast? Thanks for tuning in. Please make sure to subscribe, rate, and share on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your favorite shows.